Well, we start with the news about the NPP, and two people were injured in a clash between a group calling itself the Invisible Forces, a self-styled security force of the New Patriotic Party, and some youth believed to be supporters of embattled party chairman Paul Afoko at the party's national headquarters at Asalamna here in Accra on Thursday. And the incident is believed to be the latest in the ongoing turmoil within the ranks of the country's main opposition party. Joy News' Derek Kosam reports a police rapid response deployment team had to be deployed to bring the situation under some control.
Vehicles belonging to the Ghana Police Service were seen patrolling the area around the party's headquarters. This was after the clash between the Invisible Forces and some youth who are said to be supporters of party chairman Paul Afoko had left two people injured. The youth, after retreating from the headquarters, vowed to forcibly remove the Invisible Forces if they fail to vacate the premises.
That's what we will think now, if that's what they want. And we give them 24 hours. After 24 hours, anything can happen. And we are ready. We are ready.
We make what? Wallahi, we make what? See, we don't talk about Telakawa. I tell you something. Wallahi.
We want them to leave the chairman and the secretary general to do their work, because they were voted in, they weren't unpicked. They were voted by the delegates. We came and lost complaint because we are capable of attacking them ourselves. But to prevent all this, we are coming to report to the police before we storm them.
The Invisible Forces have also indicated they have no intentions of abandoning the headquarters. Though they wouldn't speak on camera, one of their leaders tells me they will secure the building till a solution is found to the turmoil. As was the case on Tuesday, no journalist was allowed entry. The police, numbering about 50, wielded arms and were in protective gear, ready to curb further attacks. From the NPP headquarters here in Accra, Derek Kosam for Joy News.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Service has launched an investigation into claims made against the Invisible Forces. The public relations officer of the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Sefasata, spoke to newsmen after the clash at the NPP headquarters in Accra.
I wouldn't term it a clash as you called it. I would say that around 1:30, some youth, numbering about 20, 30, came here. You know, already we have some police presence here, and they tried to enter the headquarters of the party, and the police prevented them from entering. And so the police was able to disperse them. In brief, that is exactly what happened. And you know, there is also a security presence apart from the police security. The party have their own security in the premises. And as the youth were trying to enter, they also came out with the intention of warding them off. But then the police was there, so the police managed to disperse the crowd and maintain law and order. Definitely, when incidents like this happen, the police need to investigate. So we shall do it. So the police will proceed to the Nima police station to conduct the investigation, to find out, so that it can facilitate our investigation.
And the internal disagreement within the NPP has now officially crept into Parliament, dividing the front of the party's minority MPs. On Wednesday, Minority Leader Chairman Sabonsu, in a signed letter addressed to the party's National Council, the National Executive Committee of the party, as well as the National Chairman and General Secretary, expressed a united minority position, asking Paul Afoko, who is the Chairman, and the General Secretary, Kwabena Japan, to step aside. Now, it is emerging the decision was never on the agenda at the caucus meeting, and some members are questioning the motive of their leader.
The ministry's preparedness.
I never saw any statement that was written that was to be made public that the minority caucus, including myself, had taken a decision that we have chanced upon the police investigations, and Mrs. Afoko and Kwamene Japan have been implicated. And until I see that the due process has implicated him one way or the other, for me, it becomes very difficult to take a position one way or the other. In other words, I would like to see the facts and the evidence pointing to their involvement.
Mr. Ose Ameyaw added that the flag bearer of the party, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the former president, John Kufuor, are working towards restoring peace within the NPP.
Nana Akufo-Addo is working around the clock to make sure that peace prevails. And all his statements has indicated clearly that he wants peace. And he himself said, Ajubro, let us all get together and move in the direction of peace. Similarly, President Kufuor is outside, right? He's been having consultations with other party members. And I will not suggest that he hasn't also put his foot down.
Meanwhile, former President John Kufuor has cautioned members of the party against what he calls acrimonious accusations in the media. This, he says, only serves to further divide their ranks and allow detractors to infiltrate their membership. In a statement issued on Thursday from Rome, the former president reiterated the need for calm and circumspection in dealing with the worrying trend of happenings within the party following the death of his Upper East Regional Chairman, Adams Mahama. He said Mr. Mahama following his death, should be used to unite the party and not tear it apart. One suspect is standing trial for the murder, while another is on the run. Former President Kufuor appealed to the national investigative authorities that have already taken charge of the process to be allowed to work rather than the party preempting the outcome of the current investigations. And presidential candidate of the party, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is expected to address the media today over recent developments within the NPP, and will keep you posted in subsequent bulletins as well as regular news channel programming. Okay. And Accra Magistrate Court has adjourned the trial of 6 suspects implicated in the murder of 2 African Americans at Akwemu in the Eastern region. This is despite a confession by one of the suspects at the last hearing. The magistrate in charge explained the case was adjourned before the confession and is therefore not captured on her record. Judge Bernard Shaw spoke to our colleague Kwache Afrenyama in court.
Not really that it wasn't in the court record, but the magistrate was basically saying that she did not record it because it was made after she had adjourned the case. But in any case, she did acknowledge that it did happen, but she's not going to revise her notes for that day, which is already passed. But at any rate, the confession has been captured in the police brief facts of the case, so it's not a problem for the defense. If she said that no, it was totally not the case, then we will have cause for concern. The issues of confession are quite delicate, and it's got some legal guidelines and things that goes with it. I mean, the appropriate authorities with legal counsel and with things beside them would do what they have to do in terms of getting the authenticity. What is important in a confession is basically whether it was unforced and unsolicited. How can someone just lay their lives, as you were aware, or just stick out for someone with something that they didn't do? I mean, it's not plausible, and I'm not to say this for anyone. The facts will unravel. A court is a place where evidence is examined and the court comes to account.
Judge Bernard Shaw is a lawyer or counsel for the suspect. In the meantime, we'll turn attention to some educational stories. And senior high schools in the 3 regions of the north and parts of the Volta and the Bonafide regions face imminent closure over government's failure to release their feeding grounds. Government, according to a coalition of parent-teacher associations network in the area, has only paid 50% of the 3rd term of the 2013-2014 academic year, whilst that of the current academic year 2014-2015 has also not been paid at all. Heads of schools, according to the coalition, are struggling to feed students because their suppliers are no longer willing to extend credit to their institutions.
There are over 80 senior high schools from the 3 regions in the north of the country and the northern parts of the Volta and Bonahafo regions benefiting from the National School Feeding Grants Program. Early this year, the schools had to delay their reopening dates following government's failure to release the feeding grants on time. The Coalition of Parent-Teacher Associations of Schools in the area at a news conference in Tamale revealed that government only paid 50% of the third term of 2013-2014 academic year without fulfilling its obligation for the 2014-2015 academic year, a situation they say makes it difficult for the management of the schools.
Ghana has made progress in its educational system over the years through budgetary support to the sector. We are aware that between 22 and 40% of Ghana's annual budget goes to education. However, it is worthy to note that the sector is bedeviled with many challenges which needs greater attention by the government and all stakeholders for redress.
Meanwhile, the Northern Regional Chairman of the coalition, Alhaji Malik Salifu, tells Joy News it is becoming increasingly likely that parents may have to take up the feeding of their wards.
We are building the wall because there is a serious encroachment on the school lands. And if we don't protect it by walling, we are going to lose it. Now you are on the wall and then the headmaster tells you the children have no food to eat. What do? You have to continue building the wall. We are building it because of the students. So sometimes we are forced to part some of the money anyway as loans to the schools so that when the feeding grant comes back or are paid, they pay us back. It is a real challenge.
3 young men who allegedly raped a student of the St. Dominic Senior High School in the Ashanti region have been granted for the court. And well, the school in the Ashanti region, so far, they've been arrested. And the 3 also are said to have robbed others of their mobile phones and provisions.
On May 21 this year, the 3, Kwejo Dramina, a trader, and 2 drivers, Ose Kwabena and Dominic Frimpong, stormed the dormitory of the school at Wadie Ejumakese in the Ashanti region whilst the students were sleeping. Police say they terrorized the students with a locally manufactured pistol, subjected them to beatings and robbed them of their mobile phones and a quantity of provisions. Deputy Regional Police Commander ACP Ampofu Duku told the media one of the suspects, Kwejo Dramina, raped one of the students.
On the 21st of May, 2015, at about 10:30 p.m., while the victims and her colleagues were in their dormitory sleeping, Osai Kwabena and one other at large besieged the dormitory and ordered the inmates of the dormitory, the students, at gunpoint. They had a locally made pistol in their custody. That's the pistol. And rob them of their mobile phones, cash, and provisions amidst threats and beatings.
Police have also arrested a former member of the community police unit for possessing a submachine gun. ACP Ampofu Duku says Kwabena Kwating, aka Matata, was accosted at Tafo by the police patrol team. A search conducted on him revealed the sophisticated gun.
Oh, we'll have to look at some international stories, and this time we'll stay within the subcontinent or the sub-region, as General Muhammadu Buhari is expected to assume office officially as president of Nigeria just this morning, and we'll bring you the latest details. And when the pomp and circumstance of the inauguration ends in the capital, Abuja, Buhari is expected to sit down to the hard task of governing the rich African country. Buhari outlined his priorities after his March election, tackling corruption, insecurity and unemployment. The former military ruler has his detractors, but many Nigerians are nonetheless hopeful the next 4 years would see improvement in Africa's largest economy. People across Africa's most populous nation have high expectations for their new president. The country is just starting to recover from a fuel shortage that crippled businesses nationwide. Strong oil production is offset by the low price of crude and the loss of billions of dollars to the economy through perceived corruption. More than 1 million people have fled the country's northeast to escape the insurgency from Boko Haram, which, despite recent military advances, continue to threaten the region. And you can bet we'll bring you the latest updates as far as the inauguration of General Buhari is concerned. That will be taking place in Abuja, Nigeria, to see who occupies the official palace or house of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But that'll be it for the news. Next, we'll bring you to you the latest news headlines we have by way of the front and back pages of the newspapers as we have them in the studio. Do stay on. We'll be right back.